Okay, now we're on to gold. And we're starting off with, there's no common gold cards, so there's only uncommons, rares, and mythics. So let's go the Barrowin of Clan Under. Dwarf Cleric. When enters a battlefield, venture. Nice. Whenever it attacks, return up to one creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield if you've completed a dungeon. This card's good, but you need to have ventured 4 times for it to actually, like, not be a hill giant. Right. It's definitely good. You probably still splash for it, but you're gonna go into one of the four thing dungeons. I guess technically 3 if you wanted to of Annihilation, but it does venture itself. Is this worse than the 3/4? It actually might be. Alcitron, it actually might be. I think you're right. I think it's worse than this. I agree. That's a good point. I'm gonna put it as a 7. That's a really good comparison. Thanks for bringing it up. You're right. Yeah, Veteran Engineer is good. But there's a lot of 2-cost 3/1s. Like, being able to block a 2-cost 3/1 or having not dying to Dragon's Fire a lot of the time. I think those are important aspects of the 4-mana 3/4, which this does not satisfy. So it's still playable. It's 7 out of 10. It's just not an amazing card. Oh yeah, you can rebuy the 3-mana Priest of Ancient Lore. You can rebuy this thing. Yeah. Totally right. 4 mana 5/3, great stat line. Each creature you control gets +2/0 for each equipment attached to it. That's nice. And then you may pay 0 rather than the equip cost of the first equip ability. Oh wow, this card's really good. At the end of the day, it is just a giant fellow. So it's just an 8, just because it's just a giant fellow. But I guess it's a dwarf fellow, and in retrospect, it's a very small fellow. But it is really good. It makes cards like Dueling Rapier really strong. Then this goes +4/0 and it's 0 to equip instead of 4. Yeah, I like it. Farada, Devil's Chosen. Dark One's Own Luck. It's a 4-mana 3/3. Whenever you roll one or more dice, it gains flying and menace until end of turn. If any of those results are 10 or higher, draw a card. This card seems really good. It's a blue-red, it's in the dice rolling thing. This is an easy 9. It pays rent. I think it's going to be like a 3/3 menace that pays rent. Yeah. It's basically unblockable, yeah. Yeah, I like it a lot. Gretchen Titchwillow. 4 mana, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand on... Oh. Well, it's a 2 mana 0/4, which is a lot better than the one that was in the previous set. I don't remember what it was called. In Strixhaven. Zimone. Yeah, it was Zimone. So Zimone was actually quite bad in the previous set. But this is actually way better. It's an 0/4 is like a real card, and it also does the thing. This is good. It doesn't tap to activate. It's instant speed. I like it. I would splash for this. There's just like one of the better that it can block is really strong. So you're not like taking a turn off to do the thing. Yeah. It's a lot better than I think it's a lot better than Secret Door. Although it's an apt comparison. I think it's a lot better than this. I think the wall is also a good yeah. A blue common that rolls dice. It's better than this. It's better than Arcane Investigator. Way better than this. Not even particularly close. Wait, you like Arcane Investigator more than... You like it more than Gretchen? I'm sorry to hear that. Because that sounds like... Okay, well, that doesn't sound correct. Does not sound correct. Hama Pashar, Ruin Seeker. 3 mana, 2/3. Room abilities and dungeons you own trigger an additional time. So your venture twice. No, that's not what it does. Room abilities trigger twice. So when you go into if you go into Lost Mine, you scry 1 twice. If you go into Tomb of Annihilation, they lose 2 life. Okay. You get 2 goblins, yeah. The 4/4 is legendary, so you get a pair of 4/4s temporarily, yeah. That's good. That's definitely good. If you go into the 2 of Annihilation with Hama Pashar, the game is going to end rather fast. You're going to both lose 10 life. If you go the left route. That's a yikes. That's kind of yikes. It's good. You still have to have a venture. You still got to be able to venture though. I think it's fine, but I don't know if it's actually better than just a Priest of Ancient Lore. I don't know if it's better than that. With other cards, it is. I mean, I guess it just depends on the deck. Don't tell me they're like, but I draft a white-blue venture deck, and it's great. We don't talk about draft. We talk about sealed. You think it's a 9? I think if you're not going into the Team of Annihilation, I don't know how good this is, but well, it sounds like the unblockable 2/1 is what the one doing heavy lifting. I don't know. This is like, is Hama Pashar even better? Is this card even better than Delver's Torch? I'm not even sure it is. I'm not sure it is. And white-blue isn't necessarily the venturing type. I mean, I guess it maybe is. It seems worse than Torch. That's what I'm saying. I think this is just worse than Torch. This is just be like a fellow just dies. Like, obviously, if you have other rares that like venture on attack, obviously this card's great. But as far as on its own, I don't think it doesn't actually do anything on its own. So I'm gonna put it on 7. All right, Colleen, Reclusive Painter. Enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent on. This card seems pretty mopey. It's like a 2-mana. It's like an Iron Shell Beetle. That's what it is. It's a glorified black-red Iron Shell Beetle. I mean, maybe it's better if you've got a bunch of Hoarding Ogres. So actually have like a ton of... Like, this is like the only like real super awesome treasure maker. It's hard to make treasures otherwise. For free, anyways. The ramp? Yeah. Ramp is whatever. Yeah, Wily Iron Shell Beetle. The 1/9 thing that makes 5 treasures. Yeah, that card's not good, though. This card's mopey. If you don't play it, I don't blame you. Cridle of Baldur's Gate. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life and mills a card, and you gain 1 life and scry 1. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature cannot be blocked. This is a cool card. This thing is good. Good stat line for what it's trying to do, too. Because it's basically a 2/3. Because they lose 1 life if it hits them. It's like a 2/3, like, and it also gains a life and scry. Yeah, this card's good. And let's not forget the deck damage. There's also a rogue. I like it. Oh, dude, you're totally right. It doesn't even need to attack for the second ability to trigger. Attacking it all does it. Oh, that's even better. It's still an 8. But that's even better. This card is great. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, this card's good. Love it. Shesra Death's Whisper. When Shesra Death's Whisper enters the battlefield, target creature blocks this turn of Able. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2 life if you do draw a card, and it's a 1/3. So, this card seems really good. Even if you don't get to use the Bewitching Whispers, I think it's pretty easy for this to, like, cycle. The 4-mana 1/3 aspect is stinky, yeah. But I think it's gonna draw 2 cards. It's gonna at least cycle. And it's gonna draw 2 cards, probably. I like that it's also like a quasi-removal spell they have to block. The optimal scenario is like you play a 3/3 and they play a 3/3 and then you play this and you make them block and you trade and then you draw a card. And then they untap and they play a creature, you untap, you terminate it, you attack them for 1, and you draw a card. Like that to me that's like the use case for this card, and that seems pretty awesome. I think this card's really good. It's not a 9. If it was a 2, the stats were any better, if it had one more stat point, it'd be a 9 out of 10. But it doesn't have one more. So I'll put it as an 8 just because it's a 1/3. If it was any other stat line that had one more stat, like a 4/1 even, it'll be a 9. Targ Nar Demon Fang Null. Whenever it attacks, if you attack a creature's with power 6 or greater, attacking creatures get +1/0, and then you can pay for the double the power 10 distance into turn. This is kind of just mopey. Kind of a mopey fellow. I don't know if this guy's... I don't even know if this guy is better than the Direwolf Prowler. I don't think he is. I don't think he's better than this. You still play him if you're red-green. I wouldn't splash for this. This is not a splash-worthy uncommon. It turns into a 6/4. No, it doesn't, because you have to double before you attack, right? Oh, it's definitely worse than the 3/1. It's definitely worse than this. Way worse than this. I'm gonna put this as a 6. It's whatever. It's a playable grizzly bear. No, you can activate at instant speed. Yeah, but how did you get to pack tactics? You're talking about Magical Christmas Land where you already have 6 power creatures. Sure, it's a 6/4 if you can already trigger pack tactics, but if you can't, that's not what it is. Yeah, it's a defensive 5/4. Yeah. I just got my reward. Got my 30. Alright. Whenever you gain life... Wait, it's Trelasara? Moon Dancer. 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you gain life, you may... Oh, it's mandatory. Put a counter on this and scry 1. Sure. And you can gain life from the dungeons. You can gain life from... level 1 of this to level 3 of this, although it's pretty likely that you'll rather put on the Storm anyways, unless you go towards the mine tunnels. If you go, you can go mine tunnels into Darkpool for it. If you need the treasure. This card's good. It's better. It's better than Target. It's way better than this. I'll put it as a 7. At the end of the day, it is a 2/2 that needs a lot of help. All right, now we're on to the rares and the mythics that are gold. Where are we gonna see if we can do this? Adult Gold Dragon. This is a hard-hitting, tight-fitting fellow. Flying, lifelink, haste, 5 mana. This is almost a 10. It's an Adult Gold Dragon, not to be confused with a not Adult Gold Dragon. This might be a 10. This can like solo win you the game. It is just a mopey creature though. At the end of the day, it can't be terminated. But not with Power Word Kill, it can't. It does die to the Dragonfire. You're right. It does die to Dragon's Fire. At 4/4, it would probably be a 10 if it was a 4/4. The fact that it's not is probably why it's a non. Yeah, haste is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But it is a French vanilla at the end of the day. Alright, Bard class. Legendary creatures you control enter battlefield with an additional counter on them. Legendary spells you cost red, green, less to cast. And whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library, you may play them this turn. No. You'd have to have at least 4 legends, I think, to play this. Probably not still. Yeah, I don't nothing to do with this. This is a more of a constructed card. And by the way, Bard class doesn't even work with Tomb of Annihilation, right? Because you have to cast a legendary spell. So it doesn't even work with those. Your 4/4 Death Touch will come into play as a 5/5. But your level 3 doesn't even work with... If your level 3 actually worth the Tomb of Annihilation, I could actually maybe see playing this. Maybe. But no. Drizzt Do-Urdin. 5 mana 3/3 double strike. Elf Ranger. One of those rangers doesn't have reach, I guess. Enters a battlefield, create Gwenhavar. I don't know how to pronounce it. Gwenhavar? A legendary 4/1 green cat creature token with trample. Whenever a creature dies, if it had power greater than Drizzt power, put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the difference. Okay. Yeah, this card's really good. And it kind of satisfies the situation that it does a single-handedly win the game, though. The 4/1 can be traded with a Goblin token, and then if they just terminate Drizzt and it's whatever. It's a 9. It's definitely good. You splash for it always. If you're either green or white, you're going to play whatever you're missing, and then just play a single, like, Forester Plains and have this card in your deck. It's good. There's a 5-mana 4/1 plus 2/2 at common. Well, those things, that doesn't have double strike and the ability to get bigger, right? And the token doesn't have trample. Big difference, right? I understand what you're saying. You're talking about this ranger. It's pretty clearly a lot better than this ranger. Alright. When fighter class enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Equipped abilities cost you 2 less to activate. 5 mana whenever a creature you control attacks, up to 1 target creature blocks it. Wait, blocks it? I thought it was just like a falter. No, they have to block this combat of Fable. This seems really good. This seems really good. Especially since, like, the level 2 aspect of this almost costs, like, 1 instead of 3. Because if you're going to equip something anyways, you can just, like, level it up and then equip afterwards, right? Yeah, level 2 is either, like, 1 or 2 mana. It's not actually 3. Assuming that you have an equipment in play, which you do, but you just search for it. Yeah, this card's good. I don't know, you probably wouldn't splash for it. Unless you had a really good equipment. This card's good, though. I like it. I like it doesn't say the first equip ability costs 2 less to activate. It's all of them. Kind of slow. Like that's what you were saying. It's not actually kind of slow because the second level 2 ability is not actually slow. Yeah, just like a demonic tutor plus whatever. Your second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. Okay. When this becomes level 2, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Okay. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. For as long as it remains exiled, you may cast this card from exile as long as you've cast another spell this turn. Wow, this card's good. I imagine you just play this on turn 4 to just, like, bounce one of their things, and then the next turn you use the level 3. Yeah, this is busted. This is almost a 10, isn't it? Is this a 10? I feel like this is a 10. It's almost like a planeswalker. It's at least a 9. It feels like a planeswalker that ultimates immediately. This is actually just an insane 7-drop. Just like if you just have 7 lands, you just play Monk class and level it up twice, and that's just a good 7-drop. That's great. The first ability is probably not going to come up very often unless you've leveled it up all the way. But it's also a mana rock. I feel like this has to be a 10. This has to be one of the best cards in the set. It has to be top 5. Keeping enough cards in hand is an issue. Oh, no, you're right. Wait a minute. No, you're right. No, this is a 9. I misread it. You may cast this card from exile as long as you've cast another spell. Okay, so you have to play a spell in order to play this. Like the cards from exile, you have to have already played another card first. I see. So it's not like a strict Howling Mine. It's close. You can't hit lands off it. Okay, so that's actually way worse too. Wait a minute. You can't play lands off it. And you'd still have to play another card beforehand. It's still really good, but it's way worse than I thought. That you can't play lands off it. Okay, we'll mark it as a 9. Because the level 3 ability is like 40% of the time is just not going to do anything. Like per turn. 40% chance of hitting a land, right? And then you still have to have a spell in hand, so it's like maybe a coin flip that doesn't even do anything. Not being able to play your lands off this is a pretty big downside. Alright. 4 mana, oh, this is a weird card. What a weird mana cost for a card to have. X, 2 black, red. Flying trample. Okay, so you can just play it as a 4 mana 5/3 trample, flying. Okay, yeah. When Prince of Death enters the battlefield, choose one. Each other creature gets -X until end of turn. You lose X life. Return up to X target creature cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until the turn. So if I pay 6, I still get a 5/3. But I can choose to lose 2 life and every other creature gets -2/-2. Or I can return a 2-drop from my graveyard to the battlefield and has haste. Yeah, with treasures, this is like the only sweeper in the format. This might be a 10 just because it's also the only sweeper in the format, though if you -5/-5, you're losing 5, you might be dead. This fellow does not have haste, that is correct. This fellow does not have haste. But this is, well, Sphere of Annihilation is not a sweeper. Don't consider Sphere of Annihilation a sweeper. It's not. Every time I say there's no sweepers in the format, well, MJ, what about Sphere of Annihilation? No. This thing is not a sweeper. My opponent plays a 5-drop, and I have 5 mana, and I cast this. I can't kill it. I can't even kill their 5-drop, which is what sweepers are supposed to do. I can't kill their biggest creature. Not to mention, if you're not behind, it's just like a 3-for-3 or no. But this could be an actual. It's also suspend 1 on the Sphere of Annihilation. They can shatter it too. Good, or they can bounce it. Get out of here. This is probably a 10. Oh, you should always splash for this. This card's great. You think this card's the one you unseal the most? I don't think it is. I still think you'd rather open a dungeon map. Like, straight up. But if you're already black and red, or you're like green-black splashing red or what have you, it's obviously a great card. I don't think it's really a build around, it has just raw rate. Just a 4-mana 5/3 flying trample, you can just kill somebody with that anyways. Yeah, Ranger class. Ranger class is probably better than this. Yeah, Ranger class is better than this. This is not the best card in the set. Ranger class, I think, is the best card in the set. Yeah, Ranger class. Yeah, I think this is the best card in the set. Alright, Rogue class. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down. You may look at the card for as long as it remains exiled. Okay, so deck damage 1. Creatures you control have menace when you level up for 3 mana. So 5 mana, your creatures gain menace, whatever. Then 4 mana, you may play cards, exile with Rogue class, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So you can play lands off level 3, which is nice. But it's also really expensive. It's like 9 mana, and it had to have been in play for a while. You had to hit them for a while. I don't like it. I think I'd rather have a piece of equipment than this, and just kill them with that. I don't like this card at all. I would probably say that you don't play it a vast majority of the time. I don't like it. It's still so expensive. Like, the level 1 does actual nothing. Unless you consider deck damage something, which I don't. Giving your creatures menace doesn't matter if you've already, you're already sunk 5 mana into something. And for level 3 to matter, you've had to have already hit them. And if you're blue and black, you have a bunch of on-hit effects that draw cards and stuff, and it's like, you don't even need level 3 to do anything. I'm off it. I'm actually gonna make this as a 4. I'm off it. Each skeleton creature you control has trample. Attacks each combat if able, and gets +X+0, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. Okay. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of them instead. What a weird card. So if there's nothing on the board, you just play this, you get a 1/1. And then you attack next turn. If it dies, you get 2 1/1s. If it doesn't die, you still have 2 1/1s. Although they become 2/1 tramples after that. So you get a 1/1 trample for 5. Oh, it's tapped. You get a tapped skeleton. Oh no. The creature that you get that's created, it's tapped. And it has to attack each combat, so these things can never block. Yeah. I don't know about this. It's a 1/1 to start off with, and then you get a pair of 2/1s the next turn. I don't think I want this. This card snowballs. How does it snowball? You attacked with the 1/1 and they block it. You have a pair of 2/1s. They block them. And then you get a pair of 2/1s. Your creatures aren't indestructible. They just die. They block your 1/1s and 2/1s, and that's all this card ever does. You're overestimating the amount of disposable blockers your opponent has. Why are they disposable? Why haven't they killed you? You literally paid 5 mana for a card that does not do anything. It has no defensive properties. No, each skeleton you control has trample, attacks each turn, and it gets +X/+0, where X is the number of other skeletons. So if you have 2 of them, there are 2/1s. It says other. I mean, there is skeleton tribal, right? Like there is this fellow, and then there's this fellow, and then I guess the big deal with skeletal swarming. The big deal is the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which you get, the graveyard gives you a pair of 1/1s. Okay. Alright, so maybe that's the joke. Maybe that's the joke. With skeletal swarming. It is 5 inches deep. I'm gonna reserve judgment on this. I'm gonna put this as a 6. And I'm gonna reserve judgment on it. Yeah. There's no way this is a 10. There's no way this is a 9. I think this is between like a 4 and a 7. I'm gonna put it as a 6 and just I'll give it a shot. Give it a shot and see how it plays out. But this card is really hard to evaluate without actually playing it out. The card gets a lot better if you actually have, like, if you've got declattering skeletons. Like, turning this into, like, a 5/3 trample to start off with is actually, like, a big deal. Sorcerer class. 2 costs, enters the battlefield, draw 2, discard 2. Okay. ATB. Creatures you control have tap, add blue or red. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery, or to gain a class level. Okay. That's weird, but sure. And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, that spell deals damage equal to each opponent, equal to the number of instances of sorcery spells you've cast this turn. So it makes your first one deal 1, your second one deal 2. This feels kind of mopey. This doesn't look good at all. Yeah, if it was draw 2, discard 1, then obviously this would be like a 9. Yeah, this looks kind of mopey. I don't think you want to do anything to do with this. Yeah. No, but I think it's just worse than a land. If you're trying to use it to cast instants and sorceries, why don't you just have an island or a mountain? It's like it's draw 2, discard 3 essentially on this because it's counting itself. Like it costs a card to do it. Yeah, but so does islands or mountains. Like if you're using it to upgrade your class level, it's just like, why didn't you attack them? Like your opponent is gaining life when you're tapping your creatures for mana. Triumphant Adventurer, 2 cost Death Touch. As long as it's your turn, it has first strike. Whenever it attacks, this card is bananas. This is like almost a 9.5 because it's so stupidly cheap. It pays rent every turn. It's at least a 9. The way to beat this card is you have to double block it. Double block with a pair of 1/1s, hopefully, and they have nothing. The problem is Triumphant Adventurer just goes into the Lost Mine and goes into the storeroom and makes itself a 2/2. So I guess the answer to this card is essentially like you see a pair of goblins. There's this card, or you have to directly burn it. You're not beating this card in combat. You're just not. Kill him with a spare dagger. He's also insane with spare dagger. Turns your spare dagger into terminate because it has death touch. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Volo, Guide to Monsters. 4 cost, 3/2. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. Yeah, this card's like a 9, right? Isn't so like you get permanent copies, so it clones your things that you haven't seen before. Now, to be fair, it doesn't work with humans and wizards, but there's lots of like dragons and bards, and there's zombies and skeletons, and this is pretty awesome. But it is a 3/2, so it's easy to die, dies to everything. But it's still really good. It pays rent. 6 round every turn. Can single-handedly win the game if it just sits there. Yeah, owlbears. Yeah, curve this into owlbear. Got to pay. That seems like game over. If you go this into owlbear. Yeah, that seems like it's game over. All right, Minsk, Beloved Ranger, red, green, white, 3/3. Whenever it's the battlefield, create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster with trample and haste. And then X, until end of turn, target creature you control has base power and toughness XX and becomes a giant. Activate only as a sorcery. Yeah, this card's good. I like that Boo has trample, so you can just like make a giant hamster to smash things with. Yeah, it's got a lot of flavor. This is a cool card. This is just like a really flavorful card, really cool card. But at the end of the day, if it dies, then you have 1/1 left over, I guess. Pay 0 and kill your creature? Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's actually, Jabari, that's a good point. This is technically a sacrifice outlet. You can just munch your own creatures if you had it like a death trigger. Like if you had I don't know how you cast a red, green, white card with your double black, but if you had a zombie ogre in play, I mean, you could technically kill your... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. The threaten effect. Yeah. It's a sack outlet for your threaten effects. The price of loyalty. Yeah, that's a good point. That's cool. It doesn't even say once per turn on it, too. No, that's cool. Oh, wait. Act of Treason also kills this. Your opponent can take Minsk, and he just like, eats himself. He just, like, puts a hand on his head and just, like, smacks himself, and he's dead. Alright. He just, like, oh, I'm delicious. He just eats himself. No, you can't kill him in response because it's sorcery speed only, but... Yeah, why does it make a lot... It is very strange that this card can... That he's the ultimate betrayer. Yeah, I'm not sure why... I don't think wherever the source material from this is from, I don't think this guy is known for backstabbing his teammates. But... yeah. Beloved Ranger, ultimate betrayer. Alright. Maybe he's beloved because no one has survived to tell the tale if they're on his team and he doesn't like them. Yeah. Another ranger with no reach as well, yeah. And that feels like a complete oversight. Because they put it on the Hydra that X can't be 0. They put it on the Hydra. They should have put it on this. There's like no reason. There's no reason for this guy to just be able to eat his own party. Alright. Alright, 7 mana, 7/7 flying, Tiamat. When Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search the library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat. They each have different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. This card seems pretty good. And it's not that hard to cast with treasure. It's basically a red card because red is easy for red to get treasures. Yeah. Well, there's lots of dragons. There's a lot of common dragons. For instance, there's the 4-cost 4/3, the Jade Sellsword. Like this is just a dragon, and then like green not only has the normal dragons, but it also has like wandering troubadour, which is also a dragon, right? Like this feels like it's a red green card. Yeah, the 2/3 reach was the 2/3 reach a dragon too. Yeah, there are some common and uncommon dragons. Yeah, this card is really good. I'll put it as a 9. Might actually be a 10, but I'll put it as a 9. It is somewhat hard to cast. How do we cast it? Treasures. That's why I said it's mostly a red card. You cast it by having a Hoarding Ogre. Hoarding Ogre is just like single-handedly carries this format, but you could also have Unexpected Windfall. This also cast it. Does green have mana fixing this set? It has an uncommon. It has this, such as for 2 basic lands. But other than that, not really. Maybe Druid class. Not Druid class. Well, I guess Ranger class does it. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. I thought you could spend mana of any color, but no. Tiamat, I think if you're not playing red, that seems hard to do. But then again, the dungeon, like, both the Lost Mine and the dungeon have treasures as an output. So it's easy to play a basic of an off color, but you're doing that anyways in Seal, but you're always gonna play you're always in this format gonna play 2 colors and your best 2 cards of another color. That's just the default for this format. So assuming that you have a basic of that color, in the dungeons, you can get a treasure off that. So you just need to come up with one way to make one more treasure to be able to cast this card, which I don't think is very hard. Yeah, card's good. Xanthar Guild Kingpin. That's an amusing artwork. 6 mana, 5/6 Beholder. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. Until end of turn, that player cannot cast spells. You may look at the top card of the library anytime. You may play the top card of the library, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast spells this way. Yeah, this card seems really good. But at the end of the day, it is just a mopey fellow. Although it is a 5/6, so it doesn't die to Precipitous Drop. It doesn't die to this. Yeah, that's pretty big. And it doesn't die to Fireball. It doesn't die to Fireball either. It doesn't die to Fireball, and it doesn't die to Dragon's Fire, probably. And it'll be hard for a punch spell to kill it, too. Not impossible, but green has some punch spells that could do it. This might be a 10. It is a creature that is really hard to kill. Yes, because the way it sets up is that you can just play spells from the top of their deck until their top card is a land, and they're just going to draw a land, right? Then Alara, yeah, so there was a card called Send Triplets. But this is way different than that, because this rigs their draw. It rigs their draw. This card was bad. It was a 5-mana 3/3, it was easy to kill, and it only hit the cards in their hand. This is different. This makes it so they never draw a spell the rest of the game. This just locks them out. I think this might be a 10. It's just too hard to kill. It's a creature that's too hard to kill and just locks them out of the game. They can't get out of it. No, I'm gonna put this as a 10. It's not as good as the other 10s. But I think it's on the same level as I think it's actually on the same level as Orcus. I think it's about the same level. But I don't think there's any way this isn't one of the top 5 cards in the set. Yeah, but Suspend 1, win the game does not seem like a bad card to me. I think it's a 10. Maybe a low 10. Maybe it's not. It's obviously it's on the lower level than Ranger. It's not as good as Ranger class. Not as good as this. But it's about the same as Tarask. In the right deck. It's about the same level as that. I think it's better than Wild. It's like better than this. It's it may not be better than this. This is pretty good. I give Tarask it's either a 10 or a 5. Like, if your deck is good, it's good. If it's not, then it's a different kind of 10. Because most of the time 10s are like you just play them always. This is not the case. You have to, if you're in the right deck for it, then this card's a 10. Yeah, Xanthar's I think it's actually on the same level as Tarask, honestly. I feel like this on the same level. But maybe it's not. Maybe I'll just put this as I don't know. This is a card that literally single-handedly wins you the game. Its only weakness is a Death Touch creature. Like, and it also defends you, right? Like, the Tarask defends you because you just bop whatever flyer they have or whatever's killing you. You just bop it. And they literally can't kill this. I mean, Ward 10. I don't even know how you kill this outside of... I don't even know how you kill this outside of a Death Touch creature. You just don't, right? Something that makes your spell uncounterable that can kill this. I don't know. Is there something in the format that does that? Like your instants and sorceries are uncounterable? I don't know. -11, but you have to have 17 mana. How are you going to do that? Or 16 mana? How do you have 16 mana? Oh, you fight it with the can't be countered punch. Okay, yeah. There's the, yeah, I got what you're saying. The, Hunter's Mark. Like, maybe you double block and Hunter's Mark it. Yeah, that might work. That might work. That could be legit. But, well, Hunter's Mark plus Death Touch, yeah. Well, it's already... Well, Green Dragon plus Magic Missile is like, what, 10 mana or something? 9 mana? It's a lot of mana. I mean, so is this, but... I don't know how they would have those cards in their hand and already play them. Alright, let's do an overview of the set. If you like, the best card is by far... Ranger's Class. By far. This card literally single-handedly wins the game. But some other really good cards are Xanthar, Orcus. Orcus is the only like actual sweeper in the format that you can't see coming a million miles away. And Tarrasque is also really good. As far as red doesn't have a 10, I don't think. Red doesn't really have a 10. Which one is this one? Oh, this is whatever. It's just a duder. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's just a 6 cost duder. Red Dragon at being an uncommon, pretty awesome. I imagine losing to this a lot. You're gonna see it far more often because it's an uncommon instead of this is a mythic. There's a lot of burn in red. Oh yeah, Hobgoblin Captain might actually just be an 8. This card is really freaking good. As far as 10s, this is a 10. I'm marking this as a 10. This is so hard to get rid of, and it does work on defense in the sense that like if they attack and you block, you kill their creature, you can just cast it. Well, that's how it's worded. Is what their creature died, so you can technically cast it. It's not like the card of this doesn't say like you can't cast this if a creature named Undeath died this turn. It says you may cast it as long as a creature that wasn't it died. And then for blue, we've got this fellow who is definitely hard hitting and tight fitting. It's one of the best cards in the set for sure. Really hard. 7 loyalty is so much to have. And then it's not only is it like a 7 loyalty planeswalker, but if you actually just want to kill them, it makes like 10/10s. It just poops out 10/10s when you're done drawing cards. I don't know why you would be done drawing cards, but if you want it to be, you can make 10/10s. I just don't understand why this dog doesn't... I don't know why the dog isn't a legend. Because I guess this fellow's lived a long time, and he's had a lot of dogs that have died of old age, so he has a portfolio of dogs that he goes through to create. So that's why it's not legendary. White has some cool cards, like some more like cards that turn into equipment. I like that. Teleportation Circle might be the best white card. Most dangerous white card for sure. Where it's really hard to interact with this card. And it's super easy for you to get like an ETB ability for this to just spin wildly out of control. It also has Paladin class, which this might be actually the best. I'm gonna retroactively make Paladin class a 10, even though people in my chat don't agree with me. I don't care. I'm gonna retroactively make this a 10. This might be the best white one. Best white card. That and Teleportation Circle are up there. And Nadar. Nadar is just ridiculous. Obviously, this card's ridiculous. So white has some pretty awesome cards. And we're going to see how good Planar Ally is. We're going to see how good it is. I think it's good. Now that I think about it, Veteran Dungeoneer might be better. Like, the stat line on this is so fantastic. This is a really good card. Really, really good. I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed by white in this set. I don't think actually white is that bad. Blue actually looks pretty mopey. I mean, obviously it has the free win. It has the free win card at common, Solanized Spy. Free wins. Like, you're on the play, your opponent doesn't play a 2-drop, you play Solanized Spy, they play a creature, you kill the creature, attack. They play another creature, you kill the creature, attack. It's game over at that point. So they have a free win common. And they also have, like, they have Contact Other Plane and Jin Windseeker, which are phenomenal 4-drops. Something to keep a note of in the format is that there are only 2 cards that AoE deal stuff, right? Like, AoE truly deal with things that punish you for having lots of cards in play. And they are Sphere of Annihilation, which, again, it's not a problem. I put it as a 4 out of 10 for a reason. This card's not actually that good. And there is the Orcus, Prince of Undeath. But you're incentivized to, like, try to kill them before they can, you know, each other creature -X, and they have to lose life for this, so you're still incentivized to just play all your creatures out and try to kill them. And because if they're that far behind, they'll just use their, like, return up to X target creature cards and get a 3/3 back or something to block. So you're screwed either way on that one. And for the colorless side, you got Dungeon Map, which I think is one of the best cards in the format. I'm looking forward to playing and losing to this. This card does not look that good. It is. It is really that good. Yeah. Split the Party is pretty awful. I don't... This thing? Yeah, I put it as a 4 out of 10. This card is pretty awful. 5 mana, return 2 creatures, only if they have 3 or more. No thank you. Yeah, but white actually has, like, Priest of Ancient Lore. It has Veteran Dungeoneer. So it actually has creatures with ETB abilities. It also has Steadfast Paladin, which is going to be a fantastic card in the set. Removal is not that good in this format. It's a lot of creature combat. There is a lot of creature combat. So maybe pump spells are a little bit better, because you can't really be punished that hard, because there's not much going on in that regard. Time will tell on that one. Maybe combat tricks are better in this format. I doubt it. I think that all that means is you're just going to double block more often. And just not care. Or just triple block and just not even care, because they're not going to get... You can't really get blown out. But yeah, the fact that there's not that many sweepers, and there's, like, no uncommon sweeper, and you're not really punished for playing out. You're just going to play all your cards, and it's going to be a lot of playing to the board and, like, trying to not get into a board stall. Make lots of trading. I was told that maybe this one is better than I thought. And that might be correct. I'm actually gonna bump. You find some prisoners. I'm gonna bump this up to a 5. It actually might be a 6. I'm actually gonna make this a 6. The reason for that is, like, being able to main deck a Falter that cycles. Not only is it a Falter that's... Oh, this isn't the Falter that cycles. This is just Shatter that cycles. This is a Shatter that cycles, but it could also hit a land. I think it also has 3 deck damage. This card is better than it seems. Being able to Shatter, like, there's lots of... Most decks are going to have equipment in them, and it's also it's massively tempo positive if you can Shatter. It's like 2 to play and 3 to equip for a lot of equipment. So you're going to, like, gain 3 mana and blow them out on combat potentially. Yeah, I think this card is actually way better than it seems. So I'm going to retroactively add it, make it a 6 out of 10. Then Owlbear, I think, is the card that she made, like, is like the default. Yeah, you can. Something that you can also keep in mind is you can interrogate on your opponent's turn, because you have until the end of your turn to cast it. That is correct. Yeah. Yep. And the big thing is you can, like, get a land off this, which I like a lot as well. I think this is actually way better than I thought it was. But this is, like, the most simple thing that people are just gonna default say, like, yeah, my opponent played 3 owlbears and I lost. Like, yeah, I mean that could technically be true, but I know it's not even that hard for white, even white. Veteran Dungeoneer, you can venture into the dungeon, and if you go into the Lost Mine, You could put a counter on it pretty easily, make it a 4/5 to block all the 4/4 tramples. So it's not even that hard. Obviously, Owlbear is obviously a good card, but it is slow. And I would actually say the person who goes planar ally and your opponent goes Owlbear, I think you're gonna win that game. And or if you have like Delver, if you go like 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop into Delver Storage, you're gonna crush an Owlbear every time. So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about Owlbear overwhelming the format. The card is obviously good. No shots on Owlbear. It's obviously good. It's not as good as Cerule's Packmate. It's like not nearly as dominating as that one, which was the card that was in Kaldheim. It's not nearly as dominating as Cerule's Packmate. Like you can actually go underneath Owlbear, and I think you can actually go on to over it as well. I don't think it's that hard to go over it. Whereas Packmate, you couldn't go under it or really over it. So you can't go under Packmate, but it was actually it was oversized. And there's a lot of 7-drops that just like that smash the Owlbears, right? I mean, there's like Tiamats, there's Xanthar, like there's a ton of rares that just like straight up crush it. So I wouldn't worry about it. But I'm looking for this isn't official. I'm gonna count up the things here. We have 230 for white, 254 for blue, 264 for black, 251 for red, and 230 for green. So just like looking at summing all the cards, it's looking like black might be the best color. Just summing everything up. And that kind of jives with what I'm looking at the card. I think a big reason for that is Grim Bounty is actually just really good. Grim Bounty is amazing, and Power Word Kill is amazing, and they also have removal and the creature that has on-hit effects, and it has Death Touch, so it's also removal. Like worst case scenario, and they have Precipitous Drop, which is just like might be the best common on the format. It's either Precipitous Drop or Owlbear, or it's either Precipitous Drop, Owlbear, or Dragon's Fire might be the best common in the format. It's probably Precipitous Drop. Yeah, so I guess black is the best, followed by what? Probably red or blue. And then followed by white and green. But that kind of follows what sealed normally goes in every format. I don't think white is nearly as bad in this format as it has in others. I like white. It looks like you have to be pretty aggro with white, because you have planar ally, and you have veteran dungeoneer, and you don't have a lot of removal. Your only removal is minimalist containment, which actually helps your opponent along. So you have to be a little bit aggro, but I think they can handle it. I think with white, you're almost always going to go to Annihilation. And then for black, you're probably going to go Dungeon of the Mad Mage a lot. So I think it's easy I think it's relatively easy for black to get to the end here, but they have the Terminates to get there. And I think the other colors are probably going to go into the Lost Mine for treasure. And either treasure or the storeroom and the temple. But it looks like it'd be an interesting format. And remember to play 2 colors. You're gonna play 2 colors, and you're gonna be playing the best 2 cards of your other color, whether they're gold or whatever. It's easy to get treasure from venturing. And there's 2 different evolving wilds, essentially evolving wilds. There's literal evolving wilds at common, and then at uncommon there's Temple of the Dragon Queen, which you're always going to play no matter what. Even in a 2-color deck, you're playing either one of those 2 cards. But you shouldn't be playing a 2-color deck. You should be playing a 2-color deck with 2 cards in it. Alright, thanks for watching. And don't forget to drop into our Discord or watch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/darkest_mage.